Good morning or good afternoon, Lisa. I'm not very good at these things, but I guess we'll get started. Welcome to my Storytelling Through Material Part B for Assessment 3. So I still have displayed on page 2 my same mood board that I had in Assessment 2, as I felt it was still very appropriate for my Assessment 3. So for Assessment 3, I wanted to create an artwork that allows viewers to connect to the ocean as deeply as I do. And I want to do this by creating an everyday item, such as a keychain. It is a unique canvas I think it's a unique canvas definitely, but in sense, it can capture an individual's memories. So these ocean-inspired keychains are definitely a miniature work of art, and with being related to the ocean, they can definitely evoke a multitude of emotions and memories tied to the ocean, as they definitely do for me. So for me, wanting to design a personal, meaningful item, I think a keychain would be perfect, as it's a reminder of also my cherished ocean experiences growing up. So for my material selection, I am still staying on the track of epoxy resin. So I do love using it, as it is a very strong and durable material, and especially being epoxy, it needs to be mixed with a hardener. So it being a very versatile material, I feel it's very appropriate for making my beach resin art, as it can be easily manipulated to create such effects, such as adding non-translucent and translucent pigments to it to definitely create, the depths and perceptions seen in beach resin art. Another aspect is adding white pigment to the resin to create the beach waves, which honestly couldn't be done without resin, as the versatile when you use the heat gun to move the resin across the canvas or across on the other resins, it makes it very possible with the clear resin. It creates a beautiful ocean-like effect. In terms of sustainability and obviously ethical manufacturing, it was very possible, but however, it was very out of reach for me. Obviously, resin is not a very sustainable or ethical practice to do, and in terms of manufacturing. But there were, through research and everything, there were companies that did do, bio-based, plant-based, sustainably made companies. But these companies were too expensive or were in a different country, so accessibility was very hard. I know it's not a very sustainable product, but it did make my artwork look amazing, unfortunately, if you could say. But for ethical manufacturing, it is a dangerous item because it does have a lot of toxic chemicals, and it does require really strict handling and disposal. So when I was doing these methods, most of the time, not all the time, unfortunately, was wearing gloves and a respirator, to cover my face for fumes. Moving on to my process, which was so fun. I really enjoyed it, honestly. So I did buy these molds from Kmart, the two displayed in the slide. So I basically started off the design by mixing my epoxy resin with the part A and part B for around 2 minutes, so it would have a very, it's mixed properly and everything. So then I did divide the mixed resins into separate cups to be able to obviously add pigment and color to them. So after doing that and mixing them really well till I could see the pigment or color was fully dissolved into the resin, I then started to pour, for example, a blue into the rectangle mold, then followed by another blue and then some white at the bottom and in the middle to obviously make the waves. So to make the waves, I did use a hot air gun to force the white obviously in specific directions to create that ocean type look that you see in resin art to make it look more realistic. And obviously after I was happy, moving to the next page, you can see here that I actually used the hot air gun to move that white wash around. So moving it up, I did move it back down a little, and then when it's set, due to my table that the artwork was lying, it was a bit uneven. So you'll see later on in this one I've done, the whitewash is gathered into the middle, which honestly wasn't really a part of the design process, but I really liked the outcome because it almost looked like rocks were around, like theoretically, and the whitewash was just moving around in the middle, like stuck in there. So obviously after doing all that, you can see I made some other types, so some deeper ones, some more transparent ones, and then I made one with some yellow being a beach. So after I did all this, I was basically done, and I just had to let them sit for 24 hours to set, obviously. And I didn't sleep in my room that night due to the toxic fumes, because I've read a bit about that now, so took some safety precautions. Then basically the last step was just to add the chains to make them a functional keychain. So moving on to, you can see my final unedited image of my piece with the keychains connected, which I was actually really happy with how they came out. Did a very diverse range of them, so you can see like the different types, different textures, how the whitewash can flow through like currents supposedly, and I think they came out really beautifully. So here we have my digital representation. So when I was deciding on what to do, I imagined the location of where keys, like people keep their keys. So in some homes I've seen like individuals hang up their keys for like organization and for like a convenient aspect so you don't lose them. So with like considering this, I did find like I was going to replicate where people would keep their keys. So I did this by using Canva, as I did also want to make a magazine cover. So I used an art magazine cover called Apollo, which I thought would be an amazing idea. So I basically took an image off the internet, which was the one displayed here, the wooden carrier thing with the hooks and the pot plant. So that is an image just off Google itself. And then I did use Canva. Canva was a massive help in this task. So I used Canva to use the unedited image, and then I did a digital background editor and edited the images as you can see in the unedited version. And then all I did was, continuing using that background editor, I just made little slots in the keychain and basically just looked like they were hanging on the slot. So it was a really easy but like functioning, like it was a very effective process. But yeah, just obviously changed a few little things on the magazine. So obviously the year, why beach resin art made easy, ? Like you should have a look. Resin trends, like carry your memories around, because that's obviously what I'm trying to provoke as my new carrying idea. But yeah, I really enjoyed making this. And it came out really well. So my reflection. So this subject for Design Studio 1, from coming from assessment 1 to assessment 3, I honestly think I have made such an improvement from, only 3 months ago. So I can definitely see my creative thinking process definitely advancing. But in more terms of this assessment in specific, I think, you know, my appreciation for the ocean and its beauty has definitely expanded, like by exploring all like the diverse colors and the flow of waves. But I've also like learnt definitely the importance of research, planning, and stepping out of your comfort zone. But when coming to choose like resin for my material, I did research in depth about like realistic and unrealistic approaches that artists have created. But I did feel more drawn to the realistic side of beach resin art because it's such a versatile material. So it was honestly like I could do anything with it and it was honestly going to look beautiful. Like, you know, I could timelessly capture the ocean. But honestly, through the experimentation, I did have a few challenges. Well, not a few, honestly. I only had one challenge, and that was like trying to move the resin around within the small molds. So I haven't specifically done them in the molds before. I've only done them on a canvas, so I could definitely move the resin around a lot more. But in the molds, it was a bit harder because, you know, a small surface space, bit unpredictable being resin in general, and avoiding air bubbles. And, you know, it was a very patient, you know, you had to have patience for this material. But yeah, but on top of that, you know, making the digital representation I really enjoyed too. And overall, though, I think I learned about the importance of documentation from taking like progress photos to mind map, as well as like just as well as, you know, taking your time, taking a step back even if something goes wrong, and just even reevaluating if not. But it was a really exciting process to do, as I could definitely I liked documenting as I could see how far I've come, see how the skills I've gained over the time and everything. But I definitely think this assessment like not only helped me gain skills and knowledge, but definitely served as a foundation for my future creative like endeavors and where I'm definitely going in the future. I hope this video wasn't too long and I don't been in talk for too long, but thanks Lisa, and I hope this is all good.